Hey, how's everybody doing? Welcome to the Tiger Torture Perspective. I've been gone for a while, but I'm back. I had to hone my skills, learn a little something, get out that depression and everything like that. But with that being said, we're just going to jump right on into it today. So, on this episode of the Tiger Torture Perspective, the title is World War IV, the Africa-Russia Alliance. And basically, what I want to get at today is I originally tried to do this on TikTok and I got flagged. They stopped me in the middle of doing what my presentation was about, and I couldn't quite finish it. So, what I'm going to do today is I'm going to try to do it here on the YouTube page and try to do it a little bit different so I could get everything in there. So, what I'm going to start with is basically, you know, what civil war is. And civil war is a war between, the citizens of the same country. That's what some of the definitions are. You have other definitions that could say civil wars between governments or different entities, but pretty much that's the gist of civil war. And the reason why I'm bringing this up is, pretty much what I see going on right now is a lot of these countries setting up their war footings. The reason why I say World War IV, I believe World War III was the war against humanity when they started, the GMOs and all these other unwanted ejections, let's just say. Um you could pick whichever one you want, but whatever one of that you didn't want to take that was forced onto you, I consider that war on humanity. The chemtrails of war on humanity, sex trafficking, just the drugs and just all kinds of stuff that they putting out here that is just just destroying humanity as a whole. So that's what I call World War III. World War IV is what we're having going on right now. So before I get going, I would like to explain, like, when, just for everybody that's listening, when we say the West, a lot of people take the West as meaning Anglo-white establishment, but we're smart enough on the Tiger Torture perspective to know that that's not true. The West means a different form of elitism, elitist or elitism, if that's a word. So let's start with this Russia African alliance. All right. So first of all, let's just go. I was talking about in some of my previous podcasts how we talked about China and Russia, the China Russia alliance, and how China is one of Russia's largest exporters, and the yuan is the number one currency in Russia. Let's just say. Now, let's start with Africa. See, there's a lot of things that's going on with Africa right now that a lot of people's not really watching right now. But this World War IV and this Russia Africa alliance is something that needs to be talked about. Now, the way I see it is that for the longest, Africa has some parts of Africa, some of the countries in Africa have been expelling, kicking out, or getting rid of the colonists, the French, and all other governments that's been pillaging Africa. And over the last year or so, a few years, Africa has been trying to reestablish itself as a prominent footing in the world. Now, with this big, what we call is the Great Reset that the West is trying to implement, Charles Schwab and you know all these quote unquote top of the echelon people, what they're trying to do to us. But when it comes to Africa and Russia, I don't consider Russia as part of the West. A lot of people think when we say the West, they think Caucasian countries, but Russia's not one of those. Russia is a whole nother animal, a whole nother beast, a whole nother whatever you want to call it in itself. So now what's happening is that Africa is standing on its own. Russia comes over to Africa, and Russia starts telling Africa, all right, listen, Africa, we see that you're kicking the French out and all these other people out. How about you let us come in and we'll help you out? So we'll give you fertilizer, we'll help build the roads, we'll help do whatever. And Africa is like, oh, hold up. Now, We just kicked the French out. We don't really want you guys coming in here doing the same thing that we kicking these guys out for. So we don't really want that happening. You understand? And that's what Africa told Russia. And this is why I think Russia opened up them votes. Russia opened up those votes for a number of reasons. Russia opened up those votes to, as they say, an olive branch. It was the ultimate olive branch to Africa to let Africa know that Russia is down with them, that they're not going to betray Africa, they're not going to betray China, and that this new BRICS that's coming together, which I hope you understand what the BRICS are, because that's one of the biggest things that's going on is the BRICS nations. And a lot of people don't understand about all these all these other countries that's coming together under the BRICS. And BRICS is Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, right? I believe it's South Africa. Or SCZ, Spain or South Africa. I believe it's South Africa. I'm not sure. But anyway, these are countries that's in it. And there's more countries that's trying to join the BRICS. So listen to me, everybody. So Russia ends up doing that. And the war that's going on right now is going to be. All right, listen, y'all. Like I said before, and I said on my other platforms, this World War IV is going to be fought on many different levels. And what I mean by that is, I don't just mean in different theaters, like it's going to be fought in Ukraine or then in Russia or in different countries. No, what I mean different levels. I mean, I believe this is Tiger Torture's perspective, entertainment purposes only. You take what I'm saying and you take it and do what you want with it. But what I'm saying is, in my mind, it's going to be biological. There's going to be food shortages. There's going to be invasion. There's going to be terrorism. It's going to be all out conventional war. And then they're going to have new weapons that they're using, new weapons that they created, new weapons that's being tested. And I believe all of this is going to be fought on one front. I also think it's going to be a financial war, which we've really seen right now. That's why I think we're purposely being bankrupt on purpose. There's no, these politicians ain't that stupid. And I keep saying that. There's no way these guys could be that dumb where they keep making these many mistakes. After a while, it's not a coincidence no more. It's just straight, like I say, we're being sold out. It's not a, I used to say it was invasion. If you watch some of my first podcasts, I used to call it an invasion. Episode 5, 6, and 7, I think I was calling invasion. We're being invaded and all this other stuff. And I realized it's not an invasion. When that barge hit in Baltimore, the first thing I thought was we're being overthrown. This is being done on purpose. This is a plan. And it's being executed precisely. You know what I mean? So when it comes to the war on the West finances, what we got to understand is, and I'm telling everybody you need to listen right now, because this, what I'm about to say is the most important part of this whole perspective that I'm giving today, is that Africa, Zimbabwe, just came out with the first currency that's backed by gold. It's called the ZiG. It's a Zimbabwe currency, and it's literally backed by gold. So that's the first currency. That means that, believe it or not, the dollar is going to crash. I predict by the end of this year. The dollar might even start crashing probably by this summertime. Let me give you an example why I say that. Last Friday they dropped the ZiG, right? The ZiG was trading at, on last Friday, the ZiG was trading at 13-1. That means for every $1 American dollar, you now get 13 ZiGs. Last Thursday, the day before they dropped the ZiG that's backed by gold or backed by precious metal, is backed by something, it's just not fiat currency like our dollar, it was trading at 28,000-1 because they was having super hyperinflation and they was dealing with fake currency, fiat money. Okay? So on Thursday, last Thursday, 28,000-1. So for $1, for every $1 American dollar, they had to give you 28,000 Zimbabwe dollars. Last Friday, it went down to 13-1. What's it going to be next month or by the summertime when everything, all the currencies start being backed by precious metals? Anybody know what's going to happen then? The dollar's going to crash. And what's going to happen when all them other African countries start realizing that they could back their currency with their precious metal, whether it's the oil, the gold, the platinum, the uranium, everything that they got in Africa. They got all those precious metals over there. That's why China's trying to get there and Russia's trying to get there. Now, people think Russia want to get there for the precious metal and stuff, but it's not for their resources. Russia don't want the resources. I think what Russia wants to do is a strategic military positioning in Africa. So for Russia to put their military positioning, their missile defense systems and all that other stuff in Africa, they had to show Africa something that nobody else would ever do. And they opened them vaults. That was Putin's trump card. And he played it. He played it nicely. Yep. So now, with the ZIG being being backed by gold, and check this out. See, I was telling everybody last year, I would say, oh my goodness, maybe October. I was telling everybody about the BRICS coin that they're gonna come out with, but they have a BRICS coin, but it's really being traded on a cryptocurrency. And now, right now, I'm not a financial advisor to anybody. So anybody's listening to this, if you know, you know. But if the BRICS cryptocurrency is trading right now, the BRICS cryptocurrency is say from 1 to, I don't know, 50,000. The BRICS cryptocurrency is like 30,000 right now. That's how low down the totem pole it is. But that's right now. What happens when all these other countries join the BRICS and then all the other countries in Africa starts backing their money with actual precious metal? What is the value of that BRICS coin gonna go? So I'm not telling y'all what to do. Just listen to what I just told y'all, and y'all should know what to do from there. What I also think is going to happen. These are just some of my predictions that Tiger Tortree, I'm putting out there now. I'm predicting that all the African countries, before the rest of them African countries start backing their currency with precious metal, they're all going to default on all their loans. Every loan that the African countries took from any other, this IMF, the International Monetary Funds, and all these international banks of settlements and all that, I'm thinking what's going to happen is all the African countries are gonna default on their loans, and they're gonna have to preemptively default on their loans before they switch to their new currency. So even though I'm saying I give it by the end of this year, I think they're gonna try to drop war before they could really do that. But oh man, can you imagine what Africa's doing? What's that? North Africa, Niger, Botswana, and all them places up there. I'm with them. I'm with them 100%. I'm feeling what Africa's doing. Some of the countries still got sellouts like we got sellouts in our country. Don't think that all them African countries don't have people that's selling out. Remember, they killed the head dude from the banking system that was going to help change this stuff over. They killed him, his wife, and his partner when they went to go see the Super Bowl. Remember his plane crashed and going to Vegas? So there's a lot of things going on behind the scenes when it comes to what's happening in Africa and this war that we're about to see. All right? So, number one, I think Russia did that. They opened their votes to let Africa know that they're down with them. The second thing is the war on the finances. I'm telling you, look at the ZIG. Zimbabwe requested to join the BRICS also, and they got the number one currency right now. Zimbabwe is probably, I think, is probably the only country in the world right now that has a currency that's backed by something that's not fiat, which means it's fake. It's not backed by anything. Our money's not backed by anything, y'all. It's just worthless paper with green ink on it, or rainbow currency, as they say it's supposed to be called soon. But nevertheless, this is what's happening. So I'm going to change over to the next thing that I think is going to happen. That's part of this war that they're going in, is going to be a war on the food system. And it's really the GMO foods that's really, okay, the man who controls the food could win the war. And Africa is really, some African countries are, and other countries are banning GMO food. That's one of the biggest wars going on right now. America and the West countries are using it, but check this out. Tanzania and Uganda totally ban it, and Kenya's doing a little bit. But these are the countries that totally ban GMO foods. France, Germany, Australia, Greece, Lithuania, Luxembourg, Bulgaria, Poland, Denmark, Malta, Slovenia, Italy, and Croatia totally banned it. You can't get it over there. So Africa is saying, like, why do they want to grow GMO crops and then they won't be able to sell it? Because more and more countries aren't accepting GMO crops. Only in the United States they letting Monsanto go haywire. They're killing us over here, y'all. Seriously, with the food and everything, they're killing us in this country intentionally. But this is the war that's going on right now. And I really believe that the war that's going on in this country is being intentional because we're being overthrown. So this is a multi-theater, multi-facet, multi-level World War IV that we're gonna be leading into by the time the election time comes. And what I'm thinking right now in my mind is if the, as I say, we're gonna call them the donkeys. If the donkeys win, we're done. And I got some predictions that I'm gonna read to y'all after I finish with this little presentation in a few minutes. I'm gonna tell you what I think my predictions is for the next short-term and long-term predictions. So let's keep it going. So with the food and banning GMO, that's going to be something that I think we're going to have to be on point with. We're going to have to start learning how to get some heirloom seeds to start growing our own food. I've been trying to do that on TikTok, and I got a little I guess a little section where showing people how to grow food and grow their crops and germinate their seeds and everything. So that's what I'm gonna be doing on TikTok for the summer. And this is what everybody else needs to do. And then the next reason, the next thing I'm talking about is, they can't sell as much as they want to sell when it comes to, you know, the GMOs. But what's also happening is when it comes to the BRICS is outnumbering the G7 now. So as we speak right now, I think it was in 2020, maybe 2020, is when the BRICS outnumbered the G7, and the BRICS at that time in 2020 were 3.2 billion. And the BRICS, but yeah, with South Africa, Brazil, China, India, Russia, Ethiopia, Egypt, Iran, and more countries want to join now that wants to join the BRICS. And once they join it and they become, they're going to give the SWIFT system, which is our banking system, a run for the money. They're going to give the Western everything a run for their money. Now, I don't like saying playing devil's advocate. I hate using the D word, but I'm going to try to play. I got to be fair with this information. Some of the things that I'm also seeing in Africa is that some of the countries in Africa are still rocking with West. They're not really trying to go all out, but majority of the countries are. So hopefully they'll line up and they'll understand what's going on. That's what I'm hoping. I'm hoping that they'll understand the rest of the African countries get along with South Africa, Niger, West Nile, and all that, and start really. I wish Africa, and I believe this is going to happen. I believe Africa is going to come under one person rule, like a presidency, and all the countries will become states, and kind of like America, but just one president under one flag is what I'm saying. Africa needs to be united under one flag. If they could finally unite under one flag, under one law, under one rule, then I think Africa itself will probably be one of the most powerful countries in the world again. So with that being said, just hold on 1 second. I want to go try to get my predictions. 1 second. All right, so these are some of the predictions that I have, and these are predictions that I say for the excuse me, for the short term future and the long term future. And like I said, based on who wins, this these predictions is based on if the donkeys win for right now, with the Rhino Republic, with the Rhino elephants. Okay, so one of my predictions is I think that everything's going to get nationalized. If the donkeys win, we're definitely going to full-fledged all-out war. And I believe that the outcome of that for this great reset for the short term, for maybe the next generation, is going to be the following. I believe everything's going to get nationalized. I believe one of the first things that's going to get nationalized is, besides the banking system, obviously, is going to be the supermarkets. If any of y'all watch that show, The Handmaiden, and they go to the supermarket, it's not going to be like that. The way to be is with this new technology and the new system that they're coming in, and they're trying to do the reset, and they're trying to get with the new CBDCs and all this. What'll happen is it'll be just like the EBT cards. See, back in the days when we had food lines, they had to find a way to get the people and not realize that everybody was starving. So they came up with the EBT card. So instead of everybody going to the supermarket on the same day and having a long line all the way down University Boulevard, what they tend to do is now they break it up and give everybody a certain day to get their food stamps or their food rationings. Because that's what it is. It's food rationings. You can call it food stamps, whatever, EBT, nutrition program. It's still rationing because there's only a limited amount of food you could get based on how much money they give you. It's still a form of rationing. So I think it's going to get even more intense because then the supermarkets are not just going to go for EBT cards. They're going to go for any banking system. If you got a, I don't know, a Chase Bank card, if you got a BB&T, if you got a Fifth Third Bank, if you got Wells Fargo, Bank of America, it'll tell you on your bank card when you go food shopping, you ordered too much meat. You only allowed 15 pounds this month. You're 2 pounds over. Take some pounds off. That's what is going to start happening. I told everybody on my own when I was doing my last, when I tried to do this on TikTok, it's like right now I have Walmart Plus. Every time I try to order 3 gallons of milk, 3 gallons, they would only send two. They've never sent me 3 gallons of milk, no matter how many times I order it. So I already know they rationing things. You can't order certain amount of things at an instant cart. If you try to order too much, they only going to give you a certain amount. So that's the Instacart and the Walmart Plus is already getting people conditioned to having a limited amount. That's the beginning of it. Now they're coming out with the palm readers and everything else. This is the beginning of the new technology where they're going to start rationing and nationalizing everything, but they need the technology there first. And everybody that goes to Walmart and scans your own food instead of going to a register is your fault. You're part of the problem because everybody wants things instantaneously. And by getting things instantaneously, we're actually giving up our freedom. You understand? Those people that work at Walmart that watch you scan all that stuff, they don't get paid more. They don't get paid as much as 10 registered cashiers that would be there, and they the only cashier, so they get paid $30 an hour. No, they're giving the same amount they're doing for that same thing standing there. But Walmart makes the more money, and everybody's bagging. Now you know that half the store is self-scan. I pulled up to Walmart the other day. Almost 2 lanes were strictly where you pull up and you park for them to bring your stuff out. This is what it's coming to now. Nobody's going to the stores or anything. That's the beginning of nationalizing, and we're helping it go. So I think the next thing it's going to do is they're going to be nationalizing clothing. Now, the reason why I say clothing, a lot of people don't understand what I mean by that, is this. Everybody can act like things are going good right now, but we know behind the scenes things ain't. A lot of people getting laid off. A lot of people's about doing like 6 hours a day at their job, or two part-time jobs. There's a lot of people that was making big money that's getting laid off. A lot of pharmaceutical company, the largest pharmaceutical company here in North Carolina is closing down and laying off all those people. Major corporations are laying people off. UPS just laid off all the people that they hired when they raised up the wage to like $30, $40, and now all of a sudden they fired everybody. It's a setup, and it's going to get worse. And now everybody's saying the housing market is looking good, everything's getting cheaper. No, they making it cheaper because nobody has jobs and they have to make you think that you could afford it. But no, it ain't that you could afford it. Everything's getting harder. And with that, that's what I mean when I say they're going to nationalize the clothing, because when things hit the fan, everybody that's homeless, everybody that's living in the FEMA camps, anybody that's living on social service, anybody that got to go to emergency housing or to a shelter or to anything like that, they're going to put you in a uniform. Trust me. I'm telling you, that's how it's gonna work. And that's where the classism. Remember early on one of my videos I did here on Tiger Torture Perspective when I was talking about how the Hunger Games and all that stuff is coming around? That's what the Great Reset is. Okay? The next thing. And I think what they're gonna start doing is they're gonna start nationalizing the pharmaceuticals, all the pharmacies. Because notice now that with all these barges constantly hitting these bridges, all our supply chains crashing down. Eventually, there's going to be limited amount of insulin, limited amount of, um, I don't know, chemotherapy medications. All that stuff is on them barges that ain't getting into this country right now, and nobody seems to understand that. But I'm telling you, when it finally hits the fan, and the logistics and all that stuff starts backing up, that's when you're gonna start feeling it. So, like I've been telling everybody before, the hack for this year is surplus. Keep a surplus, y'all. That's the only thing I'm gonna tell you. There's gonna be a time where I'm not gonna be able to talk to y'all no more. So I'm telling y'all, it's the surplus, ladies and gentlemen. Surplus on your on your leaves, on your aspirins. Surplus if you need a. I'm keeping it real, fellas, and I always say it. Keep an extra bottle of Jack Daniels in the closet just in case. You understand, ladies and gentlemen? We already went through COVID before. Has anybody learned anything? How many people got gloves or masks or hand sanitizer or peroxide or rubbing alcohol or all the things that they told you to run out and get in order for you to start sanitizing your houses and sanitizing yourself, your cars, or whatever else you got to do. Remember, they just talked about another mad cow disease is coming out. Well, not mad cow disease, bird flu that jumped from a cow to a human. Are y'all getting prepared for what they're gonna send down the pike come this summer? I know you're not really watching, but I'm watching. I'm telling you, this is what's gonna happen, and that all it is besides everything else. So let me finish. And the last thing I think that's gonna happen is, as far as what they're gonna nationalize, they're gonna nationalize housing. I'm telling you, housing is going to get nationalized because what's going to happen is that with so many people losing their jobs, so many people get laid off, and then the interest rates goes up, everything's going to hit at one time, and when it hits, it's going to hit bad. And you could tell that it's a plan because they're not helping Americans, but all the foreigners coming over here illegally and everything, they're giving them everything in California. They're giving them houses, they're giving them mortgages, they don't got to pay off everything, but they're not giving it to you, which means it's a plan, and they're setting us up for failure. Us. Now, on top of all of that, the last and final thing that I'm telling everybody that y'all need to watch out for, and I got kicked off of TikTok for what I'm about to say, but I'm gonna say it again. All right. Over the last maybe 20 something years of this war on terror, you had these people tell us that we supposed to be scared of the Irish with the IRA. They were terrorists. We supposed to be scared of the Muslim Brotherhood. We scared of ISIS. We scared of black terrorists all over in Sudan and Somalia. Then they had the Iranians and the Muslims, right? Then all of a sudden you go down to South America and you have the South Americans, the gangs and everything, which is a form of terror, okay, coming across the borders. Then you have dictators and everything like that, right? I predict right now, and I'm saying it for the record, I think what we need to watch out for this time around is, and I'm not putting everybody in this category, but it's the rise of the female terrorists. I'm telling you right now, mark my word, it will soon become females that are going to be the ones that's doing everything over the last. And what they're also going to hit, which I personally think is, you know, because it's writing on the wall. I did a video on TikTok where I showed everybody the sheriff from Ohio telling everybody that all the sheriffs in the United States had a big meeting and they were told by the CIA that it's imminent that we're about to get attacked by terrorists in this country. It's just not it's not if, it's just when. It's going to happen. Here in North Carolina, they caught terrorists coming through North Carolina already, like a few weeks ago. So this stuff that they're saying is going to happen is bound to happen. But we already been trained, unfortunately, and I really hate that this is the truth, but we've been trained to look at. First, they did it to the Japanese. Remember, up in New York, they put the Japanese in them FEMA camps and them prison camps. Remember the Japanese that they did that to first? Y'all forgot about that? So they did it to all types of people in this country already. The only people that I have not seen get demonized right now, unfortunately, is the letter community, LBGQT, all of them letter community. They haven't been demonized as terrorists, and women. And I personally believe right now it's gonna be women. I'm telling you, it's gonna be one of the biggest things that's gonna happen, I just see the writing on the wall. I'm looking at what I'm seeing, and sometimes I look at what I don't see. I was looking at a video when they were showing all the people coming over the border, and they were showing a bunch of Chinese men, and within those Chinese men was also a lot of women. But they never talk about the women coming across the border. They always talk about military-aged men, but they never talk about the women that's coming with them. Who are the women? If you ever watch China or any of these countries that's with dictatorship, them women are some badasses too. Trust me, them women, they some tough ones too. Don't sleep on them Chinese women that's in the military and stuff. Trust me. Wasn't what's his name? Swalwell or whatever he did. Then a lot of them politicians have Chinese spies all in their system. Blackburn and all of them, whoever allegedly, Swalwell had a Chinese spy, Chow Ming or whatever her name was. So all these people had spies, female spies already in our government. So don't think that, and I'm not saying it's going to be a Chinese people that's going to be the terrorists either. I said female, and that could be anything. So I'm just telling you, watch out. That's what I think is going to come. That's what I believe is going to happen. The next thing I think is going to happen finally is a lot of people believe that our telecommunications, and when they keep saying there's going to be internet blackout and there's going to be EMPs and all that, I don't. The reason why I don't think that working because most of our telecommunication isn't from satellite, whether you believe it or not. I would say maybe 10%, 8% of all of our communications come from satellite. Most of your phone calls, most of your internet access, all that is underwater. An EMP ain't going to mess with those wires. Trust me. Those have to be blown up like they tried to do a couple of months ago when they tried to actually do it specifically with the underwater wires. And I think that eventually that's going to hit. But when it does hit, I don't think it's going to hit as far as shutting down the internet access to shut the world down. I think that's what they're going to use to shut down the banking system. And when that banking system crash, that's when I think they're going to switch to the new system. And that's how they're going to use it. Excuse me. They're going to use terrorism. And then the terrorism is going to attack the infrastructure, which they're going to say the internet went down, the banking system went down, nobody could use that, all that stuff. We have to go through the CBDC or to this new blockchain or whatever they're going to try because we got hit. That's what Tiger Torture. That's my perspective. That's how I see things are going to be. That's how I see things going. Um, One of the things that I'm trying to do with this program is I'm trying to cut it down to way less than an hour. I'm trying to stay within a half hour, 40 minutes, and then maybe I'll start making little clips off of each show. So what I'm trying to do right now is I'm trying to revamp the Tiger Tall Tree perspective. Thank you everybody for stopping in. Thank you for still listening to me. I'm still doing my TikTok. I'll be dropping these more often than I have been. I just was gonna do a little stretch, y'all, but I kind of got a system going now. The girls are doing all right. My platform is still marriage between a man and a woman. All my hot topics and crazy things that I'm going to be talking about, I'm going to be doing on the YouTube and on TikTok. If you follow me on TikTok, that will be where I'll be doing my gardening and just little stuff, things because TikTok is mostly family oriented. You can't go too hard. You go a little bit harder on YouTube. You still got to be careful, but I could get away with a little bit more on YouTube than I can on TikTok. You can't say nothing on that platform. But nevertheless, I'm still going to use every platform that we can. I'm coming up with some new lingo that I'm going to be flipping, and I'll explain that to you on my next Tiger Tawdry perspective. But until next time, if they're the next time, I'm Tiger Tawdry. Enjoy the rest of your week.